because those are his two strongest, and it really achieved the effect that they were looking for, where he moved to that Syndra. And like Dyer said, you take him off the ones he wants, and they struggle a little bit. He did build pretty well though against GG, and it wasn't like a huge misplay from him or anything. It's just that he didn't have that commanding presence that he usually has.
Okay, well, looks like it's actually Double Buff who are forced to ban Twisted Fate out away. So that has happened here. The Zyra, now they're like, well, shoot, what do we ban now? I mean, we were going to take that, but going to choose a third ban here. Is different from the last time. Let's see what else Azure decides to get rid of.
Maybe Elise, or even banning out the Malphite, since they are not going to be first here. Oh, they go with the Tristana, so they know. Like last game I said, they took it away from Flappy Bearfish. This time, they're not going to give him the opportunity to pick it either. And they don't want to burn their first pick on it. Also, the Elise coming through, like I said, taking that one off the table.
No, instead they wanted that Zed once again. It was the first champion that Azure Cats picked last time around. Even though they were red team, they still got the first pick. The Zed, they've gone it again here.
It really gives Big Fat LP a new look here, because people gave him so much criticism for not being aggressive in his lane and not roaming, not shoving. Zed is the perfect champion for that, and it kind of forces you into that playstyle, and he did a tremendous job in that last one. He was, he forced out the flash by himself, and then he was able to do a little bit of roaming too, and with the flashy play, taking out Zed by himself, even though he did go down in the end. I have to say, worth it.
Yeah, oh, you always got to say worth it. I mean, you gotta press Shift Enter and let him know, even if you die, it was the right call always. So Scuba Chris looking to go back onto that Zac here, and Inox actually is going to be grabbing a different support here for Unstoppable. So they wanted Thresh last time. This time they want Lulu.
And Thresh is still available, so they've got the pick of whatever support they want here. They could pick up Sona too, but they want that wild growth, and they want the pushing power of Lulu. Glitterlance is great at shoving lanes, so they'll probably go with something, maybe go for a 2 versus 1 switch and try and get down an early turret so that they can switch up these matchups.
Okay, so Azure Cats making their decisions right now, hovering over Shen. Be interesting to see if actually Shen and Malphite just switch hands entirely and they play the exact same guys once again. But now Big Fat's just picking a bunch of random crap. I'm not sure what he's going for at all.
Well, hovering over Leona, that would be an interesting pickup, as they've already seen Lulu, but they aren't going to lock that one in, and we'll probably see that combo of the back-to-back ninjas that we see just go all in. It's so effective. Zed, he's extremely squishy, but he has so much assassination potential. If you stand united with Zed and you're together, then you can pull off some amazing moves here, and it's a really good combo, even though they do, lose that one HP from the ninja passive.
Yeah, one less max HP for having a fellow ninja on your team. Per ninja, by the way, you could have -3 if you do it wrong.
Dangerous there.
It is, I mean, living on the edge for sure, but it is Varus here locked in as the AD carry for Demon Lol, so, okay, we're done banning, we're done stealing Tristana, we're going to ban it and grab Varus here.
He's so popular right now, you can't even say that that's like hit one of his champions, because everybody loves Varus. The crowd control that he brings from a lane that usually doesn't have that much crowd control.
Well, you got new picks coming in here from Double Buff, though. They're going to go and jungle the Nautilus, and actually it'll be, I'm guessing, a top lane Zac.
Yeah, I mean, you're guessing, but it's a very safe guess, I'd say. Haven't seen a lane Nautilus in quite a long time, and though he has received some recent buffs, he'll probably be in the jungle, and they're going to give over the Zac duties to top lane.
Okay, so once again, though, they're reprising their role on support and on jungle here. They're actually going to go back again for Hecarim and back again for Sona.
So they have one of those really long-range strong initiates, and then they still have the Sona to follow it up. Shen, he's not quite Malphite, but he does have the flash taunts, which are extremely effective as well. And it's worth saying that Malphite is still on the board here. So if Double Buff decided to go just like ridiculously tanky super team here, they could lock that one in. But it is going to be some more magic damage here to try and balance out the scales, and they're thinking about grabbing up the poke with Lux.
Well, Lux is one of the new champions that WPuber has been practicing, so even though Dara said, yeah, bring out one of the old ones, he's like, no, new, I'm going to grab new stuff. So Lux going to be grabbed in here for the mid lane. pretty different lineup here for Double Buff.
Yeah, Double Buff, they've got ridiculous pick potential right now. They've got catches from Zach, they've got catches from Lux, and they've got hooks from Nautilus. So any three of those guys, you know, can get someone on Azure Cats out of position and make them pay for it. Meanwhile, Azure Cat's going with a very similar build. We already pointed out. Back to that Hecarim and that Sona. Those are two really strong team fighting ultimates there. Meanwhile, it's going to be Big Fat LP in the mid lane with the Zed once again.
So earlier on, we had a best of 3 where Salad Bar played the exact same lineup, 4 or 5 of the same lineup, and they lost when they tried to redo the lineup. Right, when they tried to do the same comp again, they lost that second game. Here we've got Azure Cats doing that same thing.
Yeah.
They're re-upping the same lineup, basically. Is this going to be ill-fated for them?
Well, you have to think, you know, Double Buff were very calm and collected after that match. They feel like they found the answer here, and it's going to be the pick options here. They've got so many things of punishing people for being out of position. So Azure Cat's going to have to be fairly careful with their positioning. Even the last second locking in a teleport here for that Zac.
This is a very important game for both these teams. Azure Cats win and they're on. Double Buff lose and they go home.
Yeah, so we want to point out the early game of Nautilus when we're coming into this one, because he's one that if you can get him behind early, it's just so helpful. And if he gets on a roll, he snowballs really quickly. As soon as he gets boots of mobility, the whole team has to constantly be worried, because he does have, you know, one of the lowest base move speeds. But if you're able to get that boots 5 on him, then he just becomes a ridiculous ganking threat.
We'll see how threatening he can be right now as they've put down some early wards. Actually, I just want to put out at the very, very bottom, Inox put, unless he failed the ward, he put an early ward down below Tribrush near the river.
Interesting choice right there. Everybody really lining up their defensive wards, though, so I don't think it's going to come to a big deal. That ward is really for that the 3-man dive onto the bottom, because it looks like they're doing the 2 versus 1 switch, and so he's putting that ward there to watch out for Hecarim, make sure that they don't come in too early with that. Zac is not the best champion to pull one of those 3-man dives on, though, this early, because he does have his passive, the Cell Division, where he'll pop into those 4 blobs that are on the ground and will just recombine to resurrect him.
Okay, so we have got our lineups here across the map. It's a duo lane top for Double Buff. They're going to send that Twitch and Lulu together with the double golems. Meanwhile, Cruiser will be heading top with a friend, or not even with a friend, but they're just going to be sharing out this Wolves experience, and Cruiser will be headed top. And otherwise, we're seeing the lanes start out pretty much as normal.
No friends for Cruiser? Oh, I'm sure he's got some fans in the audience, at least, that will be cheering for him from home. They won't be physically with him, but they will be in spirit.
I do want to point out one thing, though, at the bottom lane. So these Sona and Varus didn't go double golems. They're hiding in the brush in the lane in the bottom corner.
Yeah.
Like, maybe they're like hoping to see if Inox just goes in too far, but they're just completely zoning him out, and they give up double golems to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get much out of doing that in a 2 versus 1 lane, because coming into a 2 versus 1 lane as the solo player, you're already cautious. You're already going to be playing back here. And, you know, in the next he does take that burst from Sona, but it wasn't a huge advantage, and they did skip out on the double golems, like you said. This time around, Nubby Pooh Bear not going to want to get close to GG.
Okay, so Scuba Chris.
I mean, Big Fat LP.
Yes. Well, these junglers are splitting up, and they're both going to take their buffs pretty much as standard. Both Dragoner and Scuba Chris have their smites available, so they each got smiteless pulls, and they're just grabbing their respective buffs. Pretty safe jungle opening so far.
So when we see a Nautilus start out there on the red buff, it means both junglers are going to end up in this bottom lane after they have double buffs. And if they collide here, the advantage would actually go over to double buff, since they're pushed to the turret. And that early dive that we put this ward down by the Tribush to see, looks like we are going to have Dragon Hunter caught out right here. And we'll see if double buff actually want to turn anything, or if they just try and clear out the minion wave.
They were kind of trying to dive, but they actually put in a lot of damage on a Dragon Hunter. Does not quite get the knock up there, Inox. But even still, they managed to clear out these minions pretty well. Chris will survive, and, well, not too much was done.
So that actually gives a small advantage to double buff, because they've got the 2 versus 1 up top, that's uninhibited. They've been getting free damage on this top turret. Meanwhile, bottom got some defense there, but Nautilus left a little early, and we still have Hecarim walking around over here.
Well, actually, in the top lane, though, a taunt onto Flappy Bearfish dropped him down to half health. He taunted him inside of turret range, so Cruiser's actually pulled back some of the aggression there, and it's been pretty rough, actually, for the double buff duo lane. However, Obituarist here also took some poke from the turret.
Yeah, Shen's pretty dangerous, even in that 2v1 situation, because he can get you that auto turret aggro. But Inox, he's, like we said before, because of the cell division, they probably won't dive him, and they've just been putting extra damage on this turret. They haven't really been going for any kills down here. They want to get the map objectives down.
Okay, so the minion's just getting crushed down, but look how low that turret is. I mean, there's definitely a big turret lead here for Azure Cats. You just see that health bar super low. And so, right, this duo lane, this sort of 2v1 setup seems to be going in the Azure Cats' favor. So let's switch over to the mid lane. We see that one's actually going really well for them as well. Big Fat's up 8 minions.
He's showing why they keep first picking Zed. He's very comfortable on this champion. Even against the long range here that Nubby Pooh Bear's bringing Unstoppable, does get taunted up.
There's going to be a lot of damage there. Exhaust comes by. Can they do enough damage there with Flappy Bearfish? First blood goes out for Cruiser the Bruiser. He's going to like that one a heck of a lot. 5 minutes in, first blood Azure Cats.
And Unstoppable has been stopped momentarily. He will be back fairly soon. First blood is going to be a huge boon to that top lane. Going to Shen is definitely a scary thing, because once he hits 6, he's already going to have, he can go back, he can just purchase a straight up Giant's Belt, which not only makes him more tanky, but even adds a little bit extra damage from his key strike passive.
And that is going to be nice for him overall. So you're seeing Chris take more damage here. Sorry, Inox, I just see Zach on double buff, and I assume it's Scuba Chris. Inox taking a fair bit of damage on that right-hand side lane. Still not in the best situation overall. And Scuba Chris, for the real this time, is coming to show up to 2v2 this.
Yep, except it's too late. We're going to have the turret down and the flubber gone.
Yeah, they're just kind of hold on, and the shambles of a turret are all they're really left with down here. So Azure Cats, first blood picked up, the first turret kill as well. I've got to say, these guys are looking very strong right here.
Yeah, they're not letting up at all here, and it's not looking good for double buff. They've let the early game slip away here, and they're going to have to start banking on some picks. It's just going to get a lot more dangerous for them to go for picks, because as soon as Shen gets level 6 here, he's going to have Stand United, and he'll be able to protect whoever they catch out of position.
And it's going to be rough then. Big Fat LP already level 6, Big Nubby Poober in the same, and we're actually seeing a bit of a different build here, right? Dyrus talked about not getting a chalice and whatnot. Well, here's Tyr in a cloth armor.
Yeah, so he's going to go tier and then get that arm guard, because he wants the armor to be able to survive the all-in from Big Fat LP. Only thing is, Big Fat LP could use Cruiser Stand United offensively. Going in with the Death Mark and the Stand United on top of him would be a very potent combo that Nubby Pooh Bear would have a very rough time of getting away from.
Well, we'll see how that pans out. Of course, Inox is still taking a bunch of poke. Nebenlol doing a very good job, and so is Obituarist, just constantly chunking him down. And this turret's now getting hit. The second turret on the right-hand side.
Yeah, so they're doing exactly the same thing as we saw last game. After the first turret's taken down, they don't switch lanes. They keep on going with it because they have so much confidence in Demon Lol's prowess over the other AD carry that they can continue to bully that lane. All they have to do is keep up with wards to follow their progress. You can see Obituarist, he's placed not only this pink ward at the blue, but they also have a mid lane ward. So they're going to be seeing any of Scuba Chris's activities. And we said earlier as well, Nautilus, if he doesn't get that early start, it's kind of rocky for him. So he's got no boots 5, and he hasn't been able to make anything happen.
Okay, so let's see if they can turn this around then, because right now you're seeing a 2,000 gold lead for Azure Cats, and they're pressuring everything. Every single lane that I can see has equal or significantly better minions right now. And this just is such a good place to be if you're an Azure Cats fan.
Yeah, maybe Hotshot didn't overhype them, and they really deserved the the praise that they were getting here. Scuba Chris now in a little bit of trouble as he does get Corrupted Chain.
Level 5 right there goes in on a Demon Lord, though. Can they kill the AD carry off? Bitchforce is not level 6, and there comes the Let's Bounce from Inox. Do they have the damage? Zed comes by as well. Big Fat LP gets the Shen ult, but he will not even go down, so the Shen shows up. They trade 1 kill for 1. Flappy Bearfish is there on Twitch trying to deal damage. Inox is going to get split apart, and there comes Dragoner, but he is kind of alone here. Can they do the damage? Cruiser trying to put out some pain still. Puber can't find anything. He's been exhausted, and the damage is still coming through. Lux goes down. Zona secures that kill very, very well, and that is a 2-for-1 fight in the advantage of Azure Cat.
Yeah, he flashed into the whole team there to try and get a light binding and finish off Hecarim, but didn't land it and paid for that one with his life. Huge win for Azure Cats right there. The 5v5 coming out in their favor.
Okay, so 3-1 now is the score. 2,500 gold. It just grows and grows and grows. What can Double Buff do differently to pull this game back?
They can rush that dragon right now. We had some pings going off on it, and they've got 3 people up. Their AD carries here. He can add plenty of damage to that, and we'll see. It looks like they are going to try and rush it. Big Fat LP coming down from the top side might want to get some vision here and try to contest for Azure Cats.
Well, they're putting some damage onto it. The Zed is nearby, but there is the Zac as well, saying, I'm the better 3-letter Z champion, don't you dare. But here comes Dragoner. They do have smite. Both sides have it, actually. Who will smite better? Depth Charge comes across. Oh, the blue team gets it. Dragoner takes that one, even through the Whimsy, because that's how smite works, in fact. And Cruiser just forced to run away, but Azure Cat's Dragon.
Yeah, you can't stop smite unless you are suppressing the smiter, and there's no suppress available here for Double Buff, so Hecarim just walks right in, trots up, takes that smite. Thank you guys for the global gold, and we will continue pushing onto your middle turret here as Puber does his best to wave clear.
There's a little bit there, but he's falling behind, as is the health bar of that turret. Dragoner without smite, but who cares? Grabs his own red buff. His top turret still not going down. Double Buff have not put themselves on the board in turret kills, and that is kind of a rough place to be in because they're starting to lose their structures.
It's really a similar story here. All the map control going to Azure Cats, and now they can group up in the mid, take out the middle turret, and then move in on the rest of the jungle as we see some trades going off.
Now they're putting out some punishment onto the minions. They're getting some of them down here, but the turret is still losing health. It's down to only a quarter at this point, and Double Buff haven't finished any big items. You look at Twitch, and he's just sitting there on a BF sword.
A BF sword, indeed. That's really where their only damage is going to come from, because Puber, he's gone with that early tier, and then the Arm Guard adds some ability power, but it's mostly that defensive item that's trying to keep him alive versus the dive from Zed, and there's not going to be much follow-up, even if they do get one of the picks that their composition is really designed around. They're going to have multiple people there to finish off whoever they snag.
It's going to be rough then. You can see Puber still taking damage from Big Fat LP. I mean, this is rough. Every single lane they're getting bullied around, and Azure Cats are just doing an amazing job of constantly pushing the issue right here. Flappy is afraid to last hit because people might be in brush nearby. Like, oh man, our Azure Cats doing great.
Yeah, I'm looking for some saving grace here for Double Buff. And it's really hard pressed to find. We actually had Nautilus not even rush his boots 5. That to me is really sad because he hasn't had a huge impact already, and now he's just going to have trouble getting around. He does not really excel at clearing the jungle very fast, so it's hard for him to catch up that way, and he really needs great positioning. But it's going to be Azure Cats making the first move now and really dictating where this game is going. Double Buff really have to count on a mistake here from Azure Cats. Some sort of tower dive, but it's going to be a face check from Scuba Chris.
Actually the dodge on the light binding. Big Fat LP goes in with the death mark. Shenel comes by as well. Puber could just fall down. The knock-up Deathland on the Cruiser as well. Big Fat LP picked up the kill. Oh man, Scuba Chris going to go down as well. Now Inox trying to find something to pick up, but he's not going to get anything. There's another kill picked up. That's a 3 for nothing. Now can Flappy Bearfish do enough here? Looks like everyone is too tanky to fall over. Just a 3 for nothing.
And Cell Division, the passive there for Zac, not back up yet. There's a 5-minute timer on that one, so not going to be able to survive. Away he goes. That was the first time he's died.
Yeah, that was his first death. He did pop Cell Division once or twice.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. So they weren't able to finish him off before, but the
Yeah.
cooldown was still up from the passive there. Okay.
So instead, though, we're seeing just the Azure Cats still in control. Now, by the way, 6,000 gold up, 20.7 to 14.5. This lead is just growing a lot. We've seen some really, really close games. We've seen some really short ones as well from the Quantic at the beginning. But here, Azure Cats, they had a close one, and now they're like, yeah, now we know what to do, and they're just kind of crushing everything down.
All right, it looks dire for Double Buff. Yes,
Yeah.
I'll admit that. However, we saw it turn around from a 6-0 in the last set here, so it could very well happen. They have to stay in the game. They can't give up because they have to win this game.
Yeah.
You guys have to do something right now, because if you don't win this one, then you have no chance of getting in the LCS.
Indeed. So they have got to wait to the next season if they can't keep alive in this series. Dara said it was a toss-up at the beginning, but right now it seems that Azure Cats are catching this one pretty well. The wave is going to come out there from Double Buff, getting the minions mostly gone. It looks like the turret will survive. Not quite the catch on a Demon Lord they were looking for. Pearfish taking another snipe to the back, but he is an invisible rat. However, he will not find a battle to start here and does not have his ultimate up either. So I don't think a fight is yet available. They don't have almost any of their ultimates available.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. No spray and pray, because really Double Buff are going to have to be praying hard right now to be able to come back from this one. We've got Cruiser up in the top lane without even staying united, and he's just going to keep on split pushing. They don't even need the backup here from that ultimate. He forces Zach to come up there and try and keep him off the turret. So if we do have action in the middle, it will be a contained 4 versus 4.
Well,
Zed, not even.
Zed over on the right-hand side, just pushing minions down, forcing Unstoppable and Bearfish to react to him. And of course, Zed with the Spidey sense backs off and makes sure he does not go down to that 2-on-1 right there, but it's still going to be a pain in the side. Even look for a little bit of poke in this turret that might be going down. Oh, Skimmer wants to go in, but look at the damage back onto him. Hail of arrows dropping him below half health. The snipe as well. Yeah, that was a pretty rough spot.
Well, one of the unique things about the pull on Nautilus is that if you hit terrain, if you miss your target and hit terrain, then you're going to pull yourself into a bad position, because that actually yanks you over to any sort of trees that you latch onto. All of the pulls in the game do have one little thing at least that is unique about them. And that's the defining one there for Nautilus. It actually punishes you if you fail your hook.
So don't do that. I mean, I suppose if you fail and you hook an Alistair, that punishes you a little bit on Blitzcrank too.
Yeah, that would be that would be a well-deserved beating. But the dragon is up here, and it looks like AC gonna make a beeline for that one. Big Fat LP still going 2 versus 1 up in this top and keeping the minion wave for Azure Cats all the way at the inhibitor turret.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all that Azure Cats are going for this neutral, because they do have a Dragoner on their team full time. So they'll happily take that one away. Demon Lord of First helping out. Lux Snipe will not land in time. Smite comes through. That is the second Dragon now for Azure Cats. They stole the first one. They got the second one legitimately, and they're still looking great. So I want to ask you then about what Double Buff can do. You said it was dire, but still possible. There's no more... Oh, Bearfish. Okay, he's okay. But I wanted to ask you, because there's no longer a Malphite diving him in the background, is this a little bit better for Twitch? Can he actually survive these fights and spray and pray well?
So it's a little bit better, but we just saw him burn his cleanse as well. A Flash Taunt's going to do the same thing that a Unstoppable Force would, and then we still have the Hecarim who's been targeting Twitch with every single ultimate. The Onslaught of Shadows is just terrifying. He can get to that back line, and then he can also follow that one up with a Rampage and charge you back into the opponent's team.
Okay, so that's going to be a rough spot then for Fluffy Bearfish indeed. We'll see if Inox and Nubby Pooh Bear can scale up and cover out for the damage. Big Fat LP on the right-hand side. Bearfish trying to defend against him. Lands a couple of shurikens, though. That could hurt a little bit. The Bearfish just trying to clear it out as Inox is just trying to hold the split push. But I want to compare these top laners. It's level 9 versus level 12.
Yep, that's pretty much the story of the game here. Azure Cats. We also have Big Fat LP in the bottom, level 12, just handling both this rat and this Lulu, and it looks like they're gonna force something here. Double Buff feel their backs are against the wall, and Scuba Chris he makes the entire team run away from him there, actually. So pretty fearsome purple blob flying through the air there, and Azure Cats actually let up for once. They go back to purchase.
They are going to go back and buy some shiny new items right here. You got actually 2,000 gold on most of the members of that roster right here. And there we go. An Oracle's Elixir has now been grabbed for Obituarist.
Big Fat LP finally going to leave that bottom lane, too. He's been farming it up like a madman down there. The ganks to try and stop him have not been successful. escapes pretty easily. They can't stop him either. He's forced Unstoppable and Flappy Bearfish to hide under the turret 1 versus 2 and really dictate the rest of this game. Flappy Bearfish really close to that Hecarim, and he doesn't want to go all in there because there's plenty more Azure Cats behind him.
Okay, so let's take a look at the items overall then, because you've got Bloodthirster Zeal here for Demon Lull. Bearfish is still 640 gold away from Infinity Edge, so he's actually very far from a break point. You've got a lot of completed items overall on the Azure Cat side.
They also got an Oracles, which is a huge pickup because they do actually have the threat of being able to pull off a Baron. If you contain the rest of Double Buff inside their base like they've been doing, and they use Shen instead of Zed to split push down there, then they can easily force that Baron fight because they definitely have the vision advantage over here.
Well, right now it's looking like they're going to grab the blue very, very easily. No Hook's going to land. Dragoner did use his smite for that, though, so they might not want to risk Baron for the next minute or so.
See, if Nautilus right there had Boots of Mobility, leveled up to Boots 5 right there, he could have gotten into range to actually land that hook, but he's so slow, it's not really even that scary to have the potential of those anchors coming out here. They're going to ult up onto Big Fat LP, and we'll see if he can get out of this one.
They're going to try. They've got a bit of damage there, but here comes the rest of Azure Cats. They're going to go right on in. The flash taunt onto Bearfish. Cruz is putting a lot of damage there. He's trying to get away from everything else. Looks like he's alive for now. Inox trying to run away. Just everything going so well for Azure Cats. They forced a double buff out of their own jungle.
They also burn their Stand United, so at least there's one cooldown here that Double Buff can count on that they've burned. They make a beeline straight for this Baron, though, and they're going to try and burst this one down. No vision for Double Buff.
Scuba Chris does not have flash. This will be very, very difficult for him to steal this one away because he can't hook himself over the wall either. Ward comes down. They know it's getting started. It's going to be pretty much on Lux, who does have her ultimate, but can they do the damage? The E comes across. Scuba Chris coming in from the side. Will his team join him in time? Scuba Chris kind of getting hit right now. The Baron's getting lower and lower and lower. Here comes the chance of the snipe. No, blue team picks it up. Scuba Chris has nowhere to go. He falls away right off the bat. Demon Lull gets the credit on that one. And of course, Baron had gone down as well. Double Buff now running away, 4 versus 5.
Good hope there for Double Buff. Scuba Chris is trying to make Azure Cats pause on the Baron and just continue to take damage from it for as long as possible, because if they had Baron on their team and they're fighting with 6 people basically, then they did actually have a chance to take out the Azure Cats. But they all turn around, burst down Baron. Lex doesn't have the time to get off her combo, not expecting that one, and they come out with Baron plus the kill.
Beautiful job then. Azure Cats looking to close this one out. If they can win this game right here, 21 minutes in, they're going to be facing Counter Logic Gaming on Sunday in a best of 5 for a spot in the LCS. These players all know what's on the line. Double Up need to keep their LCS hopes alive with the win here and force it to a Game 3. But it's been looking bleak so far as Azure Cats pushes in towards that front side Nexus turret.
Their hopes are slowly dying as we speak, along with their inhibitor turrets.
Yes. Cruiser happily just face tanking a turret actually as the rest of his team throws in some arrows and chords and strings of music towards it. Big Fat LP up in the top side pretty much hasn't been team fighting until, well,
he doesn't seem to really like his team.
No.
He's just constant split push. Big Fat LP on his own. He's gone solo wolf ever since he was benched from CLG. he's had enough of teammates and he wants to do it his own. Oh, he heard us talking. Here he comes.
No,
just going to give a high five to Cruiser there. Yeah, Ninja Power. I'll return back to my top lane.
And Scuba Chris, fitting on Nautilus, by the way, is going to have to walk back to lane, though. Back to the fountain, I should say, and heal back up. He's been taking so much poke throughout this game, and he's actually grabbed Ninja Tabby to try to survive the attack damage from the other team. The AC are just going to push on in. That turret has gone down, makes it number 7 for them, and now the inhibitor's their target.
And look how defensive-minded Nelby Pooh Bear is. He's upgraded all the way to the Zanyas there. Even if he gets someone, if he catches someone out with a full combo, it's not gonna even kill them. He doesn't have the threat that the late game Lexes usually have. Even if someone on Azure gets caught out, they probably won't care.
Scuba Chris getting dropped a little bit low. The ult comes off, stunning up Dragoner, but they're not gonna follow up on it. So there's another cooldown burn. They missed the slow on a Cruiser as well. The ult from Bearfish was used, and they just do not find openings. They've burned some cooldowns, and there's just nothing going for them.
You know who's got to be watching this game is CLG right now, because these are the 2 teams that they could possibly face. It's looking like it'll probably be Azure Cats, and so they're gonna have to take notes because they don't want to get defeated in the same manner here.
No.
This was pretty strong performances both games from Azure Cats.
They have looked great, and it seems like the community might just be right on this one. I believe it was 75% that agreed to the hot shot, so 3/4 of you very, very smart here, and 1/4 of you still smart. I mean, clearly Double Buff was very, very good. That first game was super close. They're trying to hold on to the second one, just not as good at guessing.
Good try, guys.
Good try.
They still have hope. They could prove us all us both wrong here, though, and pull it out. So
We have seen crazier
we
comebacks.
will not give up hope yet. The Yordle's got an Oracle's here. Lulu beating on the wards. Clap goes out from the fans. Everybody's happy now. There will be no lane ward today.
No, not at all. So, Double Buff. They've got the Infinity Edge here on Twitch. He does have himself some damage. He's up against a 2-item Varus. Wow, Obituary's actually picked up a McHill's Crucible.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, he's actually grabbed some anti-stun there on the support.
It's an interesting item that we don't see too often, but it's so powerful if the support does decide to pick that up, because you can remove all stuns, roots, taunts, spears, silences, slows. So like a salesman over here. It's an all-around amazing item. It'll also give you a heal for the champion.
Nice. So Dragoner, I should say, does pick up the blue buff there, charges in valiantly and smites it away from his team. Says, I want the cooldowns very, very much. We actually did see that in a game a while ago. Actually, I think he had the same lanes, actually. It was NK Inc. just picking up blue buff after blue buff on Hecarim, and he's grabbed another one here for himself. So, Double Buff now forced to defend their last remaining inhibitor on the bottom side, and Azure Cats, without Baron buff, for what it's worth, are trying to close in.
This is going to be the last stand. They have to fight with a turret, because straight up 5 vs 5, they have no chance. A nice hook, though, onto Demon Lord.
They find a lot of damage there. Can they pick up the AD carry? He flashes away, but Inox does get the kill. Now the dive is on. Can they do enough damage? Your Big Fat LP gets the kill onto Twitch. The Mikhail's Crucible actually heals up Big Fat, and he's still alive, putting out more damage onto everybody. Nevi Boomer's going to fall over in this one. The Zonia's Hourglass not going to be enough to save him at all. Scuba Chris likely to fall over as well, and 3 members of Azure Cats still survive as Inox Little Blobbits are getting chunked down. That is an ace picked up. Oh yes, Obituaries does in fact get the kill credit for that one as well. And now as the Nexus turrets fall, this will be Azure Cats winning it 2-0, moving on to Sunday's game against Counterlogic Gaming for the chance at the LCS Summer Split.
Big Fat LP still down here working on the inhibitor. Who's going to get it first? Inhibitor or Nexus? Which one goes down? He gets the building kill. Grats to Big Fat LP.
And will he get the Nexus? Actually, yes, Big Fat last hit the inhibitor and the Nexus. True MVP status.
That 50 extra gold is going to up his gold per minute status, so it's definitely worth noting. You know, that last hit on the Nexus, a little icing on the cake there. 12-3, really a second just dominating performance by Azure Cats. They look like they're hungry, and CLG should be worried.